Good morning, sir. Please tell me, can we discuss regarding our thesis?
Yeah, sure.
Which topic should I do?
You do one thing, get 5 thesis topics and we can finalize one among them. That is better, I feel. Remember, man, we have to publish this thesis. Okay. Let's try to keep it original so that it becomes an original article in future. Okay. Okay then, I have some work and let's meet after a week's time. Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you. I'll make a move.
This is exactly the kind of situation you would be facing when you start your MD anesthesia training or DNB anesthesia training. So, what should you do in this kind of situation? I'm going to tell you now. So, first, you need to understand who are the people actually involved in taking the decision of selecting a thesis. Number one is you. Number two is your guide. Number three would be a co-guide if you have, or another co-guide. So these are the people who are going to take the decision of selecting the thesis. So you should know which area to do your thesis in. So this would largely depend upon the interest of your guide mainly. So for example, if I am the guide and if somebody is doing a thesis with me, that would be neuro. So like that, what is your interest of your guide, you need to understand. So broadly the areas are like regional anesthesia, cardiac anesthesia, neuro anesthesia, labor analgesia, pain medicine, and some people actually do in intensive care medicine also, and in some countries they also do in basic science and animal research. So once you niche down to one area, and then you need to take a second niche. Second niche is like, for example, if it is a brain related topic, then the second niche would be a brain tumor or spine, or it can be a neuro monitoring, or it can be related to neuro intensive care or a basic science research. So you have to select a second niche after niching down to one area. So now you decided to choose a secondary niche of brain, and in brain, what area? In brain, for example, you want to do a study of comparing different anesthetics and how the brain would be bulging during the brain surgery. So you would like to compare between sevoflurane and propofol, or you would like to compare between desflurane and sevoflurane, and you would like to see how the actually brain will be during the surgery and operating conditions, and also the hemodynamic changes and recovery times. So this is how you actually come down to another area from the secondary niche. So after you decide an area and a particular comparison between the drugs, then what you need is finding out the knowledge gap. Knowledge gap is, in simple terms, you have to collect what is already existing in the literature regarding this area. For example, brain bulge with anesthetics is the area that you are trying to do. So what are the different studies already available? You just go through them and try to find a small area where you can actually do your study, which is not done before. So that is called as a knowledge gap. If you can find a knowledge gap, then there is a high possibility that your thesis will be published in future. So the next important thing is feasibility of the research. Feasibility is like the topic that you have chosen. For example, you have chosen a brain bulge in some type of tumor. Those kind of cases should have been done in your center. So you need to collect the data of previous 2 years and see whether you have enough variety of such cases being done in your center. So that is very important thing. Many people don't do this step and they get stuck in a situation where they don't reach the sample size. So that's a very important thing you need to keep in your mind. And the second thing in feasibility would be the equipments and tests. For example, you need some rare test to be done which is not available in your center. Then it would be very difficult for you to do that. So that is a very important thing you need to know. And the third thing is cooperation from surgeons and intra-department. So your study should get cooperation from the surgeons and from your colleagues. That is also a very important thing you need to consider when you are planning a study. So after you developed a hypothesis question, for example, you have come to a point where you want to compare desflurane versus sevoflurane in looking at brain bulge during neurosurgeries. Once you developed the hypothesis question and you discussed with your guide and co-guide,
go to a second professor for secondary confirmation who is unbiased and tell him that this is what I'm going to do. So then take his confirmation. So usually a professor who is not related to this particular topic would actually give you a correct insight about whether it is possible or not for you to finish this particular study in the specified time that you have. That is more like 2 years during your MD or DNB. So that's a very important step. And after that, once you're done and finalized, send the hypothesis question and your primary outcome and related articles to a statistician. So usually one most related article you have to send to a statistician, and you have to tell him what is your primary outcome. Based on that, he will calculate the sample size. For example, if the sample size comes as 1000, and that is not possible for you to do in your specified time, so you need to change your topic again. So statistical analysis and statistician's stage is very important before finalizing your thesis. So that is about the importance of statistician. So let's come to the summary of what I told till now. Number one is you need to understand the guide's interest, and that will drastically help you in actually doing the study well and also converting this to a publication. And second important thing is you have to niche down and secondary niche down to another area and find a knowledge gap. After finding a knowledge gap, the conversion from thesis to publication would be very easy. And then the feasibility. You have to collect the data of previous 2 years, whether these kind of cases are being done in your center or not. And then look at cooperation from your colleagues and surgeons, whether you will get it or not. That is another important step. After that, confirm with another unbiased professor whether it is possible or not. And finally, send the hypothesis question with the primary outcome and a most related article to statistician. He will tell you the sample size. If the sample size is more, then it's very tough for you to do. So try to have a sample size which is reasonable and you can finish in your 2-year period. So this is the whole process of selecting a thesis during your MD first 3 to 6 months. So hurry up guys, there is no time. Start the process because there are a lot of steps involved. I think you have to start the process from day one. If you do it, then the chance of publication is very high. Hope you guys liked it, and as usual, many people want to connect with me, and I told you many times, Instagram is the location and Masapu Dheeraj is the ID in Instagram. You can put a personal message to me and I would surely reply. I reply to each and every person till now who has messaged me. I would usually replying within a 24-hour period. So that's about the contacting me. About the mentorship program, many people are actually asking. It is in the process, and mostly within few months I am going to come to you guys with a mentorship program. And that's it guys for today. As usual, Dr. Dheeraj Masapu logging off. Roger that.